The lecture hall of the Galactic Integration Academy fell silent the moment Professor Kalen stepped through the doorway. 73 students from 12 different species straightened in their seats, their various appendages, tentacles, and limbs folding into positions of respect. Kalen smiled, a gesture that still unnerved some of the newer students, and walked toward the central podium. The human's boots clicked against the polished floor, each step measured and unhurried. At 34 cycles old by Terran standards, Kalen had become something of a legend among the Academy's faculty, not for brilliance in theoretical physics or mastery of xenobiology, but for something far more peculiar: patience. "Good morning, everyone," Kalen said, activating the holographic display behind the podium. "Today we'll be discussing the socio-political implications of first contact scenarios. Please open your tablets to Chapter 7. The rustle of movement filled the room. Crystalline beings chimed as they shifted. Amphibious Corthan students gurgled softly. The massive Grelic in the back row rumbled like distant thunder. 20 minutes into the lecture, it happened that a small figure darted through the rear entrance, a blur of silver blue fur moving between the rows of seats. Several students gasped. Others froze in confusion. The Grelic made a sound that roughly translated to "what in the void?" It was a Valani cub, no older than 4 cycles. The species was known for their feline features, large amber eyes, and an almost legendary curiosity that bordered on recklessness. This particular cub, small even by their standards, scrambled down the central aisle with a determination that defied its tiny legs. "Vash!" A panicked voice echoed from the hallway. "Vash, come back!" But the cub named Vash had no intention of stopping. Its amber eyes were fixed on the podium, on the strange creature standing behind it. The students watched in horrified fascination as Vash reached the podium's base. The cub's claws, still soft with youth, scraped against the smooth surface as it began to climb, one paw over another, tail swishing for balance. One move that in Valani culture, interrupting a scholar was considered a grave offense. In most galactic societies, such a disruption would warrant immediate removal, possibly disciplinary action against the cub's guardians. Some professors, particularly the crystallines, had been known to halt entire lectures over far lesser disturbances. But Kalen did something unexpected. Nothing. The human simply watched as Vash completed the climb, hauling its small body onto the podium's surface. The cub sat there, chest heaving from the effort, and stared up at Kalen with those enormous amber eyes that a moment passed. Then another Kalen's hand moved, slowly, deliberately, and came to rest on top of Vash's head. The human's fingers found the spot just behind the cub's left ear and began to scratch. Vash's eyes went wide, then half-lidded. A sound emerged from the cub's throat, something between a purr and a chirp, vibrating through the sudden silence of the lecture hall. "As I was saying," Kalen continued, voice unchanged, "the initial approach in any first contact scenario must account for significant variations in cultural norms." The human's fingers never stopped their gentle motion. Vash had gone completely still, leaning into the touch with an expression of pure contentment. What we consider appropriate behavior may be entirely alien to another species. Patience and observation become our greatest tools. A Corthan student in the 3rd row raised a tentacle. "Professor, should we not address the interruption?" Kalen's eyes, those strange, forward-facing predator's eyes that still made some species nervous, crinkled at the corners. "I believe I am addressing it. Vash here has provided us with an excellent practical demonstration." The cub's ear twitched at the sound of its name, but made no move to leave its position. "You see," Kalen continued, "when faced with the unexpected, we have choices. We can react with rigidity, forcing the situation to conform to our expectations. Or we can adapt." The human looked down at Vash, who had begun to knead the podium's surface with its tiny paws. This cub saw something unfamiliar and chose to investigate. Curiosity, exploration. These are not disruptions. They are the very foundations of progress. A Valani woman appeared in the doorway, her silver blue fur disheveled, her expression mortified. She was clutching what appeared to be a security access card, likely stolen by her adventurous offspring. "Professor, I am so deeply sorry," she began, her voice trembling. Kalen held up a hand. "No apology necessary. Vash and I have reached an understanding." As if to confirm this, the cub let out a small yawn and curled into a ball on the podium, one paw draped over its nose. Perhaps, Kalen said softly, Vash can remain until the lecture concludes. The topic seems to have relaxed our young visitor. The mother hesitated, clearly uncertain. In her culture, such leniency was unheard of. Cubs were to be controlled, managed, taught rigid boundaries from birth. Yet here was this human, this supposedly primitive species from a backwater world, treating her child's transgression as something worthy of understanding rather than punishment. She nodded slowly and took a seat near the door. Kalen returned to the lecture, one hand occasionally drifting to scratch behind Vash's ear whenever the cub stirred. The students watched, transfixed, as the human seamlessly wove the interruption into the lesson. By the session's end, Vash was fast asleep, and something had shifted in the room that a crystalline student lingered after dismissal. Professor Kalen? Yes, I have studied humans for 3 cycles. I believed I understood your species. The crystalline being's facets flickered with colored light, their equivalent of emotional expression. I was wrong. Kalen gathered the sleeping cub gently, cradling Vash against one shoulder with practiced ease. What did you misunderstand? Your literature speaks of humans as warriors, survivors, conquerors. The crystalline paused. It never mentioned this. This, gentleness, patience, the ability to hold space for chaos without breaking. Kalen smiled, adjusting Vash's position as the cub mumbled something in its sleep. We learn those things the hard way. Millions of years of raising young who are born helpless, who need years of care before they can survive alone. It teaches you something. What does it teach? The human walked toward the door where Vash's mother waited, arms outstretched to receive her wayward child. That the smallest beings often carry the greatest lessons, Kalen said, and that sometimes the best thing you can do for someone who's lost is simply make room for them. Vash was transferred to its mother's arms, still sleeping, still purring faintly from whatever dreams played behind those closed amber eyes. The Villani woman looked at Kalen with something approaching wonder. Thank you, she whispered, for seeing him, not as a problem to be solved. Kalen nodded once and turned back toward the empty lecture hall. Tomorrow, there would be another class. Another opportunity to teach not just from textbooks, but from moments like these, small, unplanned, utterly human. And somewhere in the Academy's records, a note would be added to the growing file on Terran behavioral studies. Humans do not merely tolerate disruption. They embrace it. They find purpose in it. And somehow, impossibly, they make it beautiful.